Hello, everybody. My name is Pam, and I'm here to share my life with you. I just started this channel maybe just about 5 days ago, 6 days ago, and it's called I'm Not Her Anymore. So I first want to again thank those of you who have inboxed me, who have written comments to encourage me. I thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. It's a great help. It keeps me grounded as well. So I'm also asking for y'all's continued prayers. I'm going to need it to continue to do this. So pray that I continue to be obedient to the call of God in my life, to continue to do this, and as well to keep a spirit of humility. Um, I could fast see how this could blow your head up, and you could kind of get beside yourself, and that's not where I'm wanting to go. I'm wanting to continue to be obedient to what God has called me to do, and to stay humble, and for him to use me as he sees fit for me to be used, and for this channel to be what he's called it to be, and for me not to try to turn it into something else. So again, being transparent, and definitely soliciting your prayers. So I want to again just jump right in, and I wrote me some notes down here so I can kind of stay on track. So if y'all see me looking away, looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to stay on track. Um, I think on the last video, I kind of talked about at the end, my mom, myself, and my sister, and our relationship, and how good it was. My sister has long passed now. Those of you that are from Boynton, you all know my sister, and she's no longer here. And my mom is also gone since this time. And I'm the only girl that remains. I have two brothers. But I wanted to talk about me and my mom and my sister. I believe I was 12 or 11 going on 12. I know I was in the sixth grade. And because I'm born at a certain part of the year, I actually started school a little bit earlier than some of the other kids. So as most people were going to school at maybe at 6, I went at 5, or however that works out. Anyway, I was a little early. So I was in the sixth grade, and I remember my mom meeting this guy. And all I remember is that he moved into our house. Like I said before, it was just the three of us, and it was good with the three of us. I can remember my mom taking this great job, and as she was doing training, my sister and I, we would get to go to the different hotels that they were keeping her in, and we would go out every morning, go to breakfast, and then we would go to lunch in the afternoons. Then my mom would come home, and we were staying in hotels, not staying in hotels because my mom was unemployed, but because the people were that was employing her were taking her there for training. So during this training period, we would be staying in hotels that the company paid for. It was awesome, y'all. We was in the pool all day. We were eating out every day. So for a kid, that's just like a great life. You going out every morning, going out every afternoon. It was good. And we had a ball during that time. Christmases were beautiful. My mom worked hard. She took care of us girls, and things were great. And then she brought home her boyfriend, and things weren't so great anymore. Um, the first time I can remember was being asleep in my bedroom. My sister and I, we shared a bedroom together. And she slept on one side of the room in her bed, and I slept on the other side of the room in mine. And the bathroom was next to our bedroom. Well, I remember the light coming on in the bathroom. Our bedroom door was open, and the light came on in the bathroom. And from the bathroom, the light would show into our bedroom. So when the light came on, I opened my eyes, and I saw that it was my mom's boyfriend, and he was going into the bathroom. When he came out of the bathroom, he didn't turn the light off. He just stood there. And as I said, the light shone into our bedroom, and my bed was right in front of the door. So it shone on me. And he just stood there staring at me. Now, I didn't have my eyes wide open. I had my eyes like this, where you're kind of looking, through your lashes, but you can still see. That's what I was doing. And then he went back to bed. That activity continued for a little while. I'm not sure how long he continued to do that, but from time to time at night, he would get up, go to the bathroom, turn the light on. The light would show in our bedroom. It would be on me. He would stand there staring at me, and then he would go back to bed. Well, one particular night, he did this same thing, this same ritual, going to the bathroom, the light shining, and just standing there staring. But now, this time, he came and he stood at the foot of my bed. Again, I'm laying in bed, with my eyes like this, where I could see him, but pretending to be asleep. He stood there, and then he would go back to bed. This activity also went on for a little while. And of course, in hindsight, looking back now, I recognize that he was getting the courage. He was building himself up, just step by step. Then he got a little bolder, and he was going, same activity, turning the light on, shining in my room. And now, instead of standing to the foot of my bed, he was coming to the side of my bed. My mom always bought us pajamas, so we wore pajamas all the time, and they were little, pajama pants, little tops and stuff. And this man would, I remember it was, I don't know, I think it might have been kind of getting cool, and I had on the long pajamas. And so he would stick his hand up the bottom of my pajama pant, and just to rub on my legs. And I was really, I was scared. I was petrified, really. I liken it to petrified wood, or just a piece of stone. Just, I could not move. I would be so frightened. Fear would grip me so hard that I just couldn't even move. That activity went on for a little while, and then he went from that to pulling my pants down enough to he can get his hands inside my pants, and now he was fondling me, and not in a, funneling ain't nice anyway, but what I'm saying is, and stuff, he started putting his fingers inside me. He started sticking his fingers inside me. Again, I could not move. I was petrified like wood. Just felt overwhelmed in the moment, screaming on the inside, but nothing coming out on the outside. And just fear, just a whole lot of fear, just all throughout me. I never shared it with my mom. I was scared to tell her. I was scared to share it with anybody. I didn't say anything. So this activity went on for a while. There would be times when my mom wasn't at home. She was working, and I would come home from school, and I was a 70s kid growing up. So, of course, we had our chores. My mom would write the chores on the refrigerator. My sister and I would come home. We would see our name, and listed was our chores. I would wash dishes, whatever it was that my mom gave me for the day, but I'm talking about this particular time I was doing the dishes. This man was in the house. He came up behind me while I was doing dishes. Sorry, y'all. Came up behind me while I was doing dishes, and just started grinding on me. Now, again, I'm a kid. I'm 12 years old. I know this is wrong, but I don't know how to react to it. And I'm so afraid that I freeze. And I'm just kind of just standing there, while he's grinding on me from the back. And when he'd stop, he'd just walk away, and I would just continue doing what I was doing, never speaking, never saying anything. This also went on for a while, where if I was doing chores in the house and nobody was there but myself, he would pin me against a wall, grind on me on the wall, pretend he was trying to get something just so he can get close enough to me to put his hands on me in any kind of way. Um, it was terrible. It was terrible. Um, I was scared, and I couldn't share it with my mom. I was too scared to go to her. I was too scared to tell her what was happening. Um, During this time, my grades started getting bad. I wasn't concentrating in school like I should have or like I could have. I couldn't have. It just my mind just wasn't there. It was a day-to-day battle. Getting up, going to school, coming back home, him being around, having to figure out how to not be in the house when he was in the house and my mom wasn't there. My sister was one of those kids where she never did her chores, not when she was supposed to. So when we would get home from school, I would go ahead and do my chores and get them out of the way. My sister, however, would go and play. So that's a lot of times while he was in the house with me alone. It's because my sister would be outside playing. Um, I played basketball. I started playing basketball in the sixth grade and loved it. Loved it. And it was kind of my saving grace at times. When I would come home and he would be there, I would take my basketball and I would go out to the basketball court. So everybody in Boynton knows the basketball courts on Wilson Center. And most of us kids hung out there, especially in the summertime, all day long. And during school time, it was the cool time at night. Everybody would hang out, and I would take my basketball and I would hang out on the basketball courts until about the time I thought my mom was home, and then I would go home. So every day I would come home. I would Before I left, I would place my basketball right by the front door, up under the table, and I would come home. I would take my book bag, slide it up under the table, grab my basketball, and then I would go out to the basketball court and I would stay out there all day until my mom got home. Because when my mom home, of course, he wasn't bothering me. I was safe. So that's what I did. Um, there were times I would come home and if he was in the living room and he saw me, then of course I had to come in the house. And so I at those times I would go ahead and I would come in the house, but always afraid of some type of contact that he would have with me. He would have some kind of reason to have to touch me or speak to me or um, brush by me or anything. I just hated it. I hated it. I had a close friend, and I tried talking to him about it one day. But he being just like me, 12 years old, he's a kid. There's not really much advice he could give me other than to lock my door, which I did do. I locked the door. But this man was so um, pervasive. He just had to get to me that he even went to the extent of getting a clothes hanger and sticking through the little hole in the knob just so that he could get to me. And he would do that when I would lock the door. I remember telling my sister one time if she could just stay awake, just so that you can see, what's happening. But she being, I think she was 2 years younger than me, so she couldn't stay awake. She would usually fall asleep, and I would usually be awake and just waiting on this activity that was going to happen in the night. I couldn't sleep because I knew he was coming. Um, Looking at my notes here, he wasn't of course wasn't a good person because he was doing that to me, and he also was not good to my mom. um, there were arguments and fights, not physical fights but just argumentative fights, and I could not stand him. I hated his guts. I hated his guts, in fact, and I wanted to do anything that I possibly could to get him out of our house. I remember this one incident where he was home, but he would leave all the time, and I would just try to figure out where is he going. He's always leaving. Where is he going? And so I jumped on my bike when he left, and I started following him on my bike. And I kept up with it pretty good. I could see where he was turning, and so I would turn behind him, and I was pedaling. So I could keep up with him, find out where he was going. Um, I saw the house that he had gone to, and I knew one of my friends lived in that same neighborhood, actually right next door. So I went to my friend, knocked on the door, asked them, hey, who lives in that house? And they told me who lived there. Um, I went over to peek in the window to see if I could see him and see what was going on, but I really couldn't see inside. So I went back next door and I called my mom at work. And I let my mom know that he was at this person's house. His car was parked out front. I was there. I witnessed the whole thing. And I was letting her know this guy is cheating on you. He's cheating. He's with this lady, blase, blase. Um, I don't remember if my mom came home right. Now that I'm thinking about it, she didn't. She didn't come home right away. She came home. She got from work. But again, I was at the basketball court. So when it got dark, I went ahead and I came home because I knew by that time my mom was going to be home. So I went home and I opened the front door, and the two of them were tangled up, wrestling. They were fighting. This time it was a physical fight. They were fighting. They were wrestling, and he had my mom down. So I grabbed this huge ashtray that my mom had in the house, and I got it and I banged it on his head real hard. And when I did, he was like, "Oh, so this is what it's gonna be. This is how it's gonna be." And so I was like, "Yeah, yeah," and I was getting ready to hit him again. And he was like, "You better get her. You better get her before I hurt her." So my mom was saying, "Back up, Pam. Back up. Don't do anything. I got this. I got this." So because of what my mom said, I didn't hit him a second time. And the two of them wrestled some more, but because I hit him, he let her go. And my mom ran. She got her gun. They went outside and they were arguing. She told us to stay inside, me and my sister. So we didn't get to actually see everything that was taking place. I was kind of looking out of the window, but my mom actually shot the gun at him, and told him that she would kill him. So that was one of the big incidents, but he didn't leave. He didn't leave. She didn't kick him out. They had this big fight after I told her all the things that was going on with this guy, but it didn't move her enough to move him out of our house. So he was still there. So the activity continued. Him coming into my bedroom, him fondling me, him sticking his fingers inside of me, him pressing himself up against me. These things continued to happen. And I continued to be a 12-year-old kid as best as I could. I still played. I still ran around with my friends. I still went to school. I still played basketball. In the community, I looked like I was fine. I was smiling. I was laughing. I was being a kid. But at the same time, I was experiencing this trauma at home. And sometimes when you're looking at people and you're seeing them smiling and you're seeing them laughing, you need to pay attention to their eyes. You need to pay attention to different things in their demeanor. My grades started dropping. That's a sign that something's going on. I wasn't getting bad grades before, but all of a sudden now I'm getting bad grades. Whatever my mom told me to do, I did without question because I was that kind of kid. But after this situation started to happen, again, in hindsight, I recognize it now, is that me and my mom started not getting along so good. I started kind of rebelling. I wasn't rebelling to my mom. I was rebelling the situation because I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to tell her, but at the same time, I didn't know how to conduct myself. I was hurting and I didn't know how to share it with my mom, and I didn't know how to express the hurt that I was feeling. I didn't know how to express the fear. I didn't know how to express the shame that I was going through. I didn't know how to express the pressure that I was under. And so it came out in different ways. It came out in rebellion. It came out in bad grades. It came out in being disrespectful. It came out in those kind of ways because that's the only way I knew how. And I didn't have enough strength as a kid, as a 12-year-old, to fight back. I didn't know how to fight back because when it was happening to me, the only thing that I could do was freeze because it was so much fear. The only thing I could do was just try to hold myself together. I don't want to go past anything here. Um, it was so bad that this man touching me and sticking his fingers inside of me, that he gave me crabs. I, at 12, never let a boy touch me. I wasn't, a promiscuous child. So I wasn't being touched at 12 by little boys, but this grown man was doing this. And I didn't know what crabs were. I didn't know what it was. And I only realized it when I became an adult, what had happened to me. But I had sores all over my private area. I had sores. And I didn't understand where these sores came from, how they started. But I was afraid to tell my mom that I had sores on me. I didn't know how to explain to her how I could even have had these. First of all, myself, I didn't know where they actually came from. And then I didn't know how to tell her I had sores in my private area. I mean, they were all where the hair grows, there were sores. And I'm talking raw sores. I was trying to put, I'm a kid, so I don't really know what to put on it, but Vaseline, I think it was Vaseline grease. I was trying to put something on it just so that it wouldn't hurt. It was itchy. It was dry, but not dry because it was kind of wet, like with because the skin was coming off in some part. It was disgusting, y'all. It was horrible, and I couldn't tell my mama. I couldn't tell her. I couldn't tell. I couldn't share it with anybody. It was just this private secret that was killing me on the inside, and I couldn't share it with anybody. It was my own private torture. Not only was I going through it physically, but then spiritually, and again, I'm speaking in hindsight, what started happening to me was I was having these experiences where I would have visions, and it would be all what would happen was I would smell this scent, and it's a sweet kind of putrid scent that I would smell. When I would smell this scent, it was almost like a vision where something else would happen, and I could see myself, and as I saw myself, my arms would go from being long, and they would suck into my body, and it's like my hands would be coming out of right here where my shoulder is, and I would be twisted. My body would become twisted, and my mouth would be like over here, and my face was all a different way, and I was twisted, and I was always laying like in a fetal position. This went on for a year, where he was molesting me. I was having these dreams or visions, and dealing with all of the stuff, trying to go to school and be normal, but keeping this secret. Um, it was rough. Having these sores on me. I can't even tell you when they finally healed. They finally healed after some point. Just God just had mercy on me, and they finally healed. All I could do was keep putting some Vaseline on them because I didn't know what to do about them. I remember being in the bathroom, and I'm only telling this part because sometimes as parents, our children do some weird stuff, and we don't get down to the bottom of why it's happening. And I'm in the bathroom, and my mom needed to get in there, and so I didn't have the door lock. So she inadvertently just opened the door really quick on me, and I had my pants down, and I was trying to put some Vaseline on the sores because they were hurting me. And she kind of looked and saw what I was doing. She was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm putting some Vaseline on there." She's like, "What you doing that for?" And I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of anything, y'all. This is what I said. I'm 12. I said, Because I want the hair to grow. My mom looked at me. My mom said, I hope it don't never grow. And then she shut the door. And it hurt. You know what I mean? It's like, what you mean you don't want it to never grow? Because it's supposed to, but I guess because she felt like I was just being silly to be putting grease on there for your hair to grow. But those are the kind of things I'm saying that y'all need to look for. When your kid is doing something that's just kind of off the cuff, just off the rock, you just like, what? Check it out. Look into it. Talk to your children daily, weekly. Ask them how things are going. Make them feel comfortable enough to tell you anything. I did that with mine. I'll get there at another point. I'm not wanting to make videos really long, and I'm definitely, of course, wanting God to have his way. But I'll go a little bit further. The next thing I did to get him out of our house, because I felt like if I could just show her that he's a horrible person, that he's a bad person without telling her what he's doing to me, then maybe she'll put him out, he'll go away, and then I'll be good again. He used to sell weed. And back in the 70s, they used to sell nickel bags. And they used to sell them in these little yellow envelopes, kind of like vanilla envelopes. Used to sell them, sell it out of there. And the way I found that out was my mom had told me to clean up that day, and she wanted me to mop the floor. So I was one of them kids where whatever my mom told me to do, I did it to like the 10th power, okay? Because my mom she wasn't strict, but she liked her house clean and she liked it a certain way, and I was just that kid. So if she said sweep and mop the floor, I did the entire floor. That meant the rugs came up, everything. I did it all. So that day, she told me to sweep and mop, so I swept and mopped, and that meant the bedrooms as well. So that's what I did. So I went in her room and I swept under her bed, and then some shoe boxes came up from under her bed. You know, no biggie. I just pushed them to the side, and I swept, and then I mopped, and then once I did that, I went back to put the shoes and the shoe boxes back. Well, when I did, one of the lids fell off, and I saw these bags. Now, you know, at 12, I kind of knew about weed. I smelled it before. I knew people, smoke weed. Um, and then I found out that of course we got it in our house, and I know it wasn't my mom's because my mom had a job. She worked, so it wasn't hers. So I knew it was probably his. So I took all of the weed, all of it. And I went up to the hill and I gave it away. Every bit of it. Every last envelope. Because I hated his guts. Later on that evening, when I came back home from being on the basketball court, he and my mom were having an argument again. And I overheard him saying, I know Pam was the one that took it. I know she did, because some of the guys told me that she came up there with the stuff, and so she was giving it all away. And my mom, she didn't believe that. She was like, "How? Why would she even do that? She doesn't even know that it's in the house. She doesn't even know anything about weed. Why would you think she would do that? Well, the guy said she did." My mom didn't believe it, but I did it to no avail, because he still didn't leave. He still was there. I still had to deal with him. Just as a kid going through this, it was just one of the hardest things that I had to deal with in my life. I can remember getting in an argument with my mom. I don't know what about. It was because I was becoming rebellious, because I was angry. I was angry inside because of what was happening to me, and I couldn't tell anybody. And I ran away from home. It started raining that day when I ran away from home. And most black kids know my mama didn't come after me. She didn't come after me. even, I mean, she didn't know the situation. She didn't know what was going on, but I'm just laughing, just thinking that black folks, black moms, she did not come after me. Um, I ran off. I stayed away from the house maybe 4 or 5 hours, about the longest I could, because I was hungry. I was tired. I was wet from the rain, didn't have nowhere to go. Um, Came back home, and the front window was open so I could see through the house, and I could see that they had sat down and they were having dinner. And I walked to the side of the house and I was peering in the window, and literally they're sitting to the table like, like nothing, like everything's good. Okay, let's pass to this, pass to that. You got your drink. Okay, we good. And they were eating, and I'm standing outside the window hungry, uh, devastated. I mean, I'm smiling, but I was devastated. I'm like, I'm gone. I don't ran away. Nobody's looking for me, and y'all eating like everything is good. So I went back out in the front. I waited out there for a while, and then I finally got up enough courage to just go ahead and go back to the house. So I knocked on the door. My mom came to the door. She let me in. You back? And yeah, I'm back. Went on back in the house. The things you go through. I remember the first time I told my sister about what was happening, and she being a little kid, she didn't get it. She didn't understand, and her first response was, "No, he's not. That's not happening." And I told her, "Yeah, it is." "No, he's not. He's not doing that." And I said, "Yes, he is." And I said, "If you could stay awake with me, then you'll know. You'll see him do it." But she couldn't stay awake. She'd fall asleep, and I would be left up, um, waiting for him to come in. I think, or I know, the reason why I couldn't share it with my mom was because she was so stern. And although she was my mother and I loved her and I knew she loved me, we didn't have the kind of relationship where we could really talk to each other. What I did when I had my children is I made sure that my children could tell me anything. My children will testify to the fact that I let them know that they could share anything with me, that I might not like something that they did, but that I was their mother, I was their protector, and I was the person that was going to always have their back. I don't care what was going on. You're going to always be my child. I'm going to always love you, and I'm going to always be there. I made them comfortable. We talked. We had family jam night. That's what I called it. It was on Friday nights. We probably did it once a month, where the kids could sit down and they could talk to me and tell me anything they wanted me to know. If they thought that I was unfair about a punishment, or they shouldn't have been the one that had to do a certain task, or maybe how mama had treated them in a certain way, that was their day that they could talk to me and tell me how they felt, because I wanted my children to have a voice, because I felt like I didn't have one. The only rule was is that they always had to respect me, and they had to remember that I'm mama first. And they did that. And we did that. We sat down and we would talk. I remember um, my youngest son and my middle son had come home one day. They didn't know I had gotten off work and that I was home. My car, I parked around back, so they didn't know I was there. And my youngest son was just coming up to the apartment, and he was just cussing. He was just cussing his little head off. And I heard my middle son say, "Okay, you better stop. You better quit doing that. All right, you're going to get in trouble." But he continued. So when they got in the house, I said, "Oh, yeah, I heard you," because they were surprised that I was standing there. "Oh, yeah, I heard everything. I heard everything you said." But what I did is I punished both the boys. And I should have only punished the one that was cussing, but I punished them both. My reason was, again, the transparency, Lord, is that I didn't want to have to be left in the house with that little one. So I punished the other one too, so he could be in the house with him. So I don't have to be dealing with him the whole time. That's why I punished both of them. I think 2 days or 3 days in, my middle son came to me and he said, "Mama, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Yeah, you can talk to me." He said, "Well, Mama, you punished me when I didn't do nothing wrong. He was the one that was doing all the cussing. I was telling him not to be doing all that cussing. But then you punished me with him, and that wasn't right." And he was right. And I had to apologize to my son, let him know that I was wrong for the action that I took, and he was correct, and that I should not have punished him along with the other brother because he had not done anything wrong. And I did that, and I took him my punishment. Because guess what, mamas and daddies? We don't have all the answers, and we don't always get it right. And I did not do that right. And I wanted to make sure that my son knew that I could own up to me being wrong, and that I could correct it. And that even though I was his mother, I was able to tell him I was sorry. And I asked my son to forgive me, and he did. That's the kind of parenting I did with my children, because I wanted them to know that although they were children, they still had a voice. And that although I was the parent, sometimes I got it wrong. Sometimes I made mistakes. And they were in a place that they could talk to me. I didn't want to clam them up and shut them up where they didn't have a voice. Because if anything happened to my children, I wanted them to be able to come to me and tell me about it. I wanted to know. And so I first made them comfortable with me. Come talk to mama. Come tell mama how she doing, what she doing wrong. Because if they could tell me what I'm doing wrong, they definitely would be able to tell me if somebody else was doing something wrong. Give your children a voice. Be that parent that they can talk to. I'm my children's mother first, and then I'm their friend. All of us have a good relationship. To this day, all of us have a good relationship. But it was because I made sure I put it in place. I wanted to make sure that they knew that they could come to me and talk to me. Talk to your kids. I'll be back with more videos. Thank you for listening.